Why Canada? In the last video, I explained why I quit my secure 9-to-5 job and why I want to leave Germany. Now I'm going to elaborate on the reasons against Germany, why I chose Canada, and why I decided against Australia, New Zealand and the United States. As a disclaimer, don't get me wrong, some people like Germany and are a perfect fit for the German lifestyle. Others like me are simply not. This is my own opinion on Germany and my own experience of growing up in Germany. Since I've been born and raised here, I'm in a position where I can judge and analyze in a comprehensive, but still very subjective manner. Let's start with the weather. You see, some people immigrate to different countries due to the climate. Many Germans, for example, immigrate at retirement age to warmer southern locations. However, Canada does not fall into this category. Therefore, my reason for leaving Germany is not really based on climate. Nevertheless, due to global warming, there is only a stupid hot summer and winter with hardly any snow. Canada, on the other hand, has proper 4 seasons and a proper winter. For me, having snow in winter is at least a minor improvement compared to Germany. So if it's not for the climate, why the heck did I choose Canada? There is no simple answer to that, but rather a collection of advantages and lifestyle choices compared to other countries. The most important one actually is the lifestyle as a whole. It appears as if Germans thrive on living a mediocre life. At all costs, they want to be an ordinary citizen. You're supposed to be just like anyone else and be satisfied with being average. Germans envy rich people and others who are better off than them. They make up lies to justify why they don't need or don't want the rich lifestyle. Instead of seeing successful people as role models, they just condemn them and their lifestyle. Germans are not willing to take any risks or opportunities. Most people just stay in their initial job for the rest of their lives. This is not how you become rich. Almost no one in Germany pursues to become a millionaire. Instead, they buy tons and tons of insurances in order to continue their ordinary life in case some unpredictable circumstances become reality. They don't like to take any chances. Everything should remain predictable in all possible situations. North America, on the other hand, has a society that thrives on opportunities. Changing jobs or careers for a better salary, moving to a different city, or just demanding a promotion is a normal thing. Most Germans wouldn't even consider asking for promotions. To make the comparison of lifestyles more relatable, there's a very easy situation to dive into. Imagine you get a phone call while sleeping. What would you do? The general mindset of Germans would be to not answer the call. They would think, I'm in bed now. If it was important, that person would call again. On the other hand, the majority of North Americans would pick up the phone immediately and try to wake up, since the phone call could be the opportunity of their lifetime. Maybe a company that is interested in you is calling. Maybe you will get an offer for a new business opportunity. Who knows? If you're not answering, you might miss out on something big. In my opinion, you should take any opportunity to succeed in your career and your life. Change is good and change should happen fast. Adapt to the future. Like I mentioned in my last video, Germans unfortunately try to avoid exactly that at all costs. Everything should stay the same forever and ever. This is also reflected in the job market. Interview processes take up months. Everything is insanely slow-paced. This is partially due to an insanely high level of bureaucracy and due to the very strict rules about notice periods. Most of the time they are 1 to 3 months and they go both ways. So if you quit, you still have to work for at least 3 months for the same employer. On top of that, it's considered a bad habit to change your job too many times. Having work experience with too many employers on your resume, even in the same business field, is a big minus. This is why changing your job is a long process in Germany. Once you are hired, you are expected to stay with the company for the rest of your life. Experimenting and just hiring a person that left a good first impression to see how he or she performs in the first few days is not a thing in Germany. In theory, there is a probation period where you could just fire new employees if they don't perform as desired or as imagined. But in practice, almost no one makes use of this opportunity as intended, since Germans don't like to experiment. They want to be 100% sure that the candidate is a perfect match before any contract is signed and before the candidate can actually show his or her skills in practice. A side note here is that German employers are also racist and sexist when it comes to hiring new people. You're expected to put your picture, marital status, number of kids, place and date of birth, gender and religion on your resume. Religion is important for taxation. I will come back to that topic later. Here's one example of sexism in the German job market. A married woman with no children is less likely to get a job compared to a man with equal qualifications, because the woman might get pregnant and hence might be unable to work soon. Since it is expected to put your gender, age and amount of kids in your CV, those women wouldn't even be given a chance for an interview if they were similarly qualified males. Perfectly legal in Germany, but unacceptable in many other countries. Next, I would like to mention the mentality. Germans are very formal, rude and cold. They only think of themselves and friends but don't care about strangers. They are the definition of being uptight. Everything should remain the exact same and follow a certain set of rules. Germans thrive on rules for everything. Here are just some examples. Germans don't like to tip, since you are supposed to do your job right straight away without any monetary incentive. They don't like to thank people who sit below the salt. They are not patient and blame others for delays. There is a concerning lack of empathy throughout the population and lots of racism. I am aware that not all Germans are like that, but there are more than enough who behave rudely and don't show any regrets. If you do something differently, they will shout out "Hallo!" in public to remind you to not behave that way. You're supposed to be a conformist. In Canada, on the other hand, you have very welcoming and friendly folks. They are the nicest people I've ever met and worldwide known for their kindness. The cliché is really true. If two people bump into each other, both would apologize. In Germany, most people would even be mad at you and complain to watch out. Germans just love to complain. They are world champions in complaining. Not just behind your back, but straight in your face. Now you might think,
wait a minute, he himself is complaining a lot. He just whines about German society.
it's true. I was born and raised here, so I could learn from the best how to complain. However, I try to improve myself and get rid of this habit. In this video I'm ranting a lot about Germany because I'm describing my own experiences and because many people want to know why I want to leave Germany. My last video didn't go into detail enough. I'm a person of action, not a person of empty complaining words. For my examples I chose very extreme situations to make a point, so you get my idea. Not everything is that extreme in Germany. If you still want to complain about my complaints, that's your choice. I'm not stopping you. The comment section is open for you. Just be a bit more laid back and accept others' lifestyles. Anyhow, I chose to move to a country that is known for its empathy, friendliness and diversity. Canada is a country based on immigration and hence has the best preconditions to live together in peace. This leads me to my next topic, the progressiveness of society as a whole. Canada is much more progressive than Germany when it comes to human rights and acceptance of differences, since Canada is so culturally diverse. Especially when it comes to LGBT and women's rights, Canada is well ahead of Germany. As mentioned many times before, Germans are more conservative and in general don't like any changes. Canada can be considered a postmodern country which knows how to use diversity as its strength rather than an unpleasant problem. Germany is still struggling with immigration problems because they don't know how to deal with different cultures. Again, as mentioned like a bazillion times before, Germans don't like changes. They don't want to accept new cultures. Every single immigrant in Germany should assimilate the German culture, lifestyle and even religion. Germany isn't even a real secular country, like the rest of the Western world. Remember the religion you should put in your CV? In Germany, you have to pay taxes directly to the church if you were baptized Catholic or Protestant. Only very few religions can collect money directly through taxation. By default, you have to pay church taxes if you were baptized as a child. If you don't want to pay taxes to the church, you have to become officially irreligious. This process will even cost you a fee. This by itself already contradicts the equality of all religions, but it goes on by manifestations and actually enforced laws. Many public holidays revolve around Christian traditions, are named accordingly, and are accompanied by laws to enforce them. Many of those holidays are called silent holidays because you are not allowed to dance or watch happy movies. Sadly, this is not a joke. The according law is commonly called Tanzverbot. There is a huge list of movies that cinemas are not allowed to play on those days. Concerts, theater plays, operas or dance clubs are also prohibited. Even playing background music in a theme park is illegal. On silent holidays you are not supposed to have fun. By enforceable law, all public entertainment that could disturb the public silence is prohibited. I kid you not. If you're a non-German and you don't believe me, please look it up. I wouldn't call this a secular state. Furthermore, our biggest political party is even called the Christian Democratic Party. I don't see freedom of religion here in Germany. There are so many countries that could act as a role model for Germany. Shame on you. Another topic is the bureaucracy and inefficiency. The biggest misconception about Germany concerns their efficiency. This stereotype dates back to the 2 world wars and their rebuilding phase after those. It's quite ironic, because the exact opposite is the truth today. Everything you do is connected to bureaucracy and inefficiency. I have endless examples, but to give you an idea, here's a very small selection. Any official forms, documents or registration must be on paper, because electronic documents and communication via email are considered unsafe and unofficial. Germany has the worst mobile network in all of Europe. Even the poorest countries have better phone reception and internet speeds than Germany. The German trains are almost always delayed or cancelled. A quarter of all long-distance trains are delayed. German efficiency and punctuality is a lie. We have big construction sites like the Berlin Airport, the train station in Stuttgart or the Opera House in Hamburg that take or took decades to finish because of delays in construction, missing permits or constantly changing regulations for safety standards. Of course, everything must be documented in paper form and signed by so many people that by the time the documents are ready, the regulations change to even stricter rules and everything needs to start over again. Kids can't even open a lemonade stand in Germany. In other countries, they can just sell their self-made lemonade in front of their door, or like in Canada, at least get a permit through their parents. In Germany, this is just practically impossible because you must register your business, the lemonade must be made in a separate kitchen that is approved by health inspectors, and if you want to sell your lemonade at different locations, you need a permit that allows your business to relocate at any time. Furthermore, your lemonade must be labeled with all ingredients, you must hand out invoices to every single customer, and report all revenues to the tax agency. Try to explain all of this to a kid. This already leads me to my personal freedom, which I think is limited in Germany for me. There is over-regulation everywhere. Here are some more examples. There is a German law called Garagenverordnung that limits the use of your own garage. A garage is for car parking only. You are not allowed to use your garage for storage or anything else. So founding a company in a garage or storing your old sofa in your own garage is illegal. I've mentioned the silent holidays already, but they are really pissing me off. Another topic is opening hours. Germany has a law for opening hours of almost all businesses. On all Sundays and holidays, stores are closed, not by choice, but by law. Opening hours depend on the state, but everywhere it's forbidden to open your store anytime on Sundays. This also dates back to the Christian religion because according to the book of Genesis, God was busy creating earth and everything in 6 days. On the 7th day, God rested. Therefore, all Germans are supposed to rest and do nothing on the 7th day of the week, which in Germany is Sunday. You're also not allowed to drill holes on Sundays because Sunday is considered a day of rest. So hanging a picture on the wall on those days is illegal in Germany. Furthermore, driving your motorized vehicle for fun is also illegal. You must have a destination or reason to drive. Another thing that I don't like is that if you reach more than 20,000 viewers a month with your online streaming content, you need to get a German broadcasting license. It doesn't matter whether it's on YouTube, Instagram or elsewhere. A license can cost you anywhere between 1,000 and 10,000 euros, and it's of course connected to an insane amount of bureaucracy and paperwork. Furthermore, your license can be revoked or rejected by the German government at any time. Streaming without a license can lead to a fine of up to 500,000 euros. You want to do a live Q&A session on Facebook? Yeah, you need a license for that from the government. I think this is a violation of freedom of speech. As you might have already guessed, opening a business can be insanely hard in Germany due to the regulations and restrictions. In Canada and the US, it's much easier to found your own company. Even if your business fails, it's still possible to try again and open another one. This would be frowned upon in Germany, and no one in their right mind would willingly go through all the bureaucracy and paperwork to close one business and then open another one. Last but not least, I would like to mention the nature. I think I don't even need to explain that Canada has a more beautiful and more diverse nature than Germany. Canada borders 3 oceans, the Atlantic, the Pacific and the Arctic Sea. The country has massive mountains, the most lakes in the world and the biggest freshwater reserves in the world. It's the second biggest country by landmass and thus has so much to offer. There you have it. Canada just seems to be a perfect alternative for me. But why didn't I choose any of the other countries from my list? Australia, for example, has an amazing nature and it has a quite comfortable climate. However, Australia is very isolated. You can't visit another country without long airplane rides. The fact that there is no real winter is also a letdown. I like to have a variety of seasons. Furthermore, there are too many animals that can kill you. New Zealand has none of those animals but is still too isolated. Moreover, there are not so many cities to see. The island is beautiful, but the population and landmass are just too small for me, and I've actually never been there. So what about the USA? Nature there is the most amazing and most diverse I've ever seen. Even when it comes to climate, they have regions for any preferences. However, it's almost impossible to obtain permanent residency in the US legally if you are not an actual millionaire or an Olympic athlete. Their immigration policy is messed up hard. On top of that, I don't agree with their politics and there is a lack of education in many parts of the country. Except for Canada, all countries I considered for immigration had some drawbacks. I couldn't really find any significant disadvantage for the Great White North. The climate offers 4 seasons, winter is accompanied by lots of beautiful snow, people are all nice, mostly well educated, and Canada can be considered a postmodern society. They have everything I can wish for. They are by far not perfect, but in my opinion, the best country to live in. I hope my explanation was helpful to you. This was enough complaining and ranting about Germany. I'm done. I hope I didn't set things off on the wrong foot. If you're German, please don't be mad at me. As I said, some people wanted a more detailed explanation, which is why I had to point out my, let's say, dislikes about Germany. In the future I will focus on my journey to and in Canada. I will describe the steps I had to go through to apply for my visa in Canada and what I did so far. What are your opinions on permanently leaving your home country? Where would you go? And what do you think of the German overregulation? Let me know in the comments below. Or if you are German and you just want to complain, that's also fine. You're welcome in the comment sections. Subscribe for more content on my journey to find happiness.